Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at here at Bitcoin. We're mostly going to focus on the micro, just kind of see what's going on with the shorter term movements, because we do understand, and if you've seen any of my last couple of videos, you'll recognize where we're at presently with the macro. All right, that hasn't changed much at all. So what we're going to do, just again, focus on the short term, kind of understand a little bit more about the quicker movements, the smaller time frame, so to speak, the micro, and just kind of get a better understanding of what's going on in that regard. Now, is that going to shape the future of Bitcoin? No, it's going to help you understand perhaps and navigate the immediate near future and kind of help understand roughly what's going to happen next. That's all we can truly do here, right? It's a drop of a coin or a flip of a coin, however you want to call it, because honestly, Bitcoin is very unpredictable right now. But the bottom line is that price is digressing lower. We shouldn't expect the price to increase anytime soon, at least not significantly. And just want you to be overall prepared for that. If you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, just love teaching people how to trade, I've got a trading community and a trading academy rolling out with that month end. Feel free to check that out in your own time. Link in the description below for the other community if you're interested in that. We are transitioning to a website platform here soon, so it's going to be a tremendously better user experience, and that will come with a membership loadout where you can load in your API keys and kind of be able to track your portfolios. It's a pretty cool experience. We'll have that up and running next month. But for now, let's go ahead and focus on the one-day chart, I guess, for the moment, just kind of speak the obvious. We're well underneath both moving averages. RSI is significantly under 30, and that's typically a sign in which we should expect a pullback. Now, keep this in mind. We should not expect a strong pullback. And in fact, if you saw my video from yesterday, 30 on the RSI can effectively work as a resistance. So if the RSI tries to come back up, it'll likely test that and reject it and come further down. Okay. So again, we're not out of the woods yet by any means. Just because you don't see the RSI under 30 on a normal occasion does not mean that that is going to work in our favor. Okay. It's not this inevitability, oh, the price is low, it can't go any lower. That's not entirely true, okay? Because again, we've already addressed this. 29,000 is kind of a shelf for Bitcoin where the price will likely drop further if it were to, just based on the fact that we have a tremendous low amount of volume in this range here, right? So if we look at this, again, once again, between 12,000 and 29,000, there's like a dramatic shelf or drop off rather, of volume. There's literally no volume, so that we'd be in price discovery if we drop below 29,000. Okay, now I do think 29,000 will work as a strong support level if we were tested, and we continue down to test that, but just bear in mind, it's a little too early to tell for the moment, okay? Now, when the stock market opens on Monday and we see a gap down in the market, if we were to, then we'll definitely see a correction from Bitcoin to continue to the downside. So just bear in mind, a lot of this is kind of reliant on the overall market for the moment, just based on the fact that Thursday and Friday were red days, and coincidentally we saw strong red days from Bitcoin, and there's just that knee-jerk reaction going on right now. The price just keeps going down. That being said, as I expected, we have some stability over the weekend. Yes, we saw some sell-off yesterday, a little more aggressive than we expected, but on the same accord, it's kind of averaged itself out closer to 36,000. And let me go ahead and show you what I mean by that. Because if we look at the 4-hour chart, it's not looking terrible, okay? Now, again, this could be a dead cat. This could just be, the standard way in which it happens. I mean, in most cases, honestly, when you have a significant drop-off, there is a good 2 or 3 days, maybe even a week's worth of consolidation that does occur to the upside eventually, okay? So I would not be surprised the price tries to progress up closer to 37,500. I'm not going to be surprised by that. But what I can tell you, though, is at this point, short term, more so, on the 4-hour, for example, we are seeing, basically higher highs and higher lows if you look at smaller time frames. Okay. And also, too, keep this in mind, we're right at about 30 on the RSI on the 4-hour. So if we can kind of break above and stay above 30, that would effectively tell us that we are in, a good, strong, bullish sentiment. Again, very short term, keep this in mind. This could probably be 24 hours or less, but we are potentially shifting that momentum, right? Now, I think we're going to see a different story on Monday. The likelihood of the price going down further on Monday is pretty high. Again, it just depends on the news and the overall sentiment and how things are going with the, traditional stock market. So don't be surprised if you see 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right in that range, or 7:30 rather, you see a dramatic decrease in price as soon as the stock market opens. Again, if we have a gap down over the weekend, then we're going to see that occur. Also pay attention to the futures. Of course, that kind of helps us know what's going on. But for right now, on the 4-hour chart, just kind of speculate here. This is traditionally a good sign when you see the price coming back up over 30, as well as the fact that the MACD is converging and we are seeing this shift in momentum to the upside. Again, by no means is this a buy signal. But traditionally speaking, this would be a good swing trade signal to tell you to go long on a coin like this, right? That's the general consensus of how a MACD conversions should work. Yeah. But again, not telling you to go long. I'm just letting you know that that is specifically what you'd normally want to look for. Okay. And then furthermore, let's go ahead and see what else we'd look for here as well. First of all, let's start with TD sequential. We were getting a lot of resets. We got up to a 7, now back down to a 3. As you can tell, there's not a lot of continuation. I mean, we get resets at 7, 6. There's nothing's really coming to a head or getting this exhaustive state in either direction, which is completely normal right now because the price is trying to establish itself. So it's discovering its average true range, so to speak, at this price section, and it's not really coming to any type of head, if you will, which is all well and good. There's nothing wrong with that. We want consolidation and more volume at this point, but TD sequential isn't really going to tell us too much. Ichimoku cloud, we're probably still going to be well below the cloud, which we are. Lagging span is almost free and clear of price action, but that doesn't mean anything at all. And then, of course, the baseline is below the conversion line. So for lack of better terms, we have only 1 out of 3 potential indications here to go long for Bitcoin on the actual Ichimoku cloud. So again, you want all 3 as a perfect scenario. More specifically, you want to at least be above the cloud on the 1-hour chart. So we don't have that at this point, and basically no buy signal at all. So all in all, nothing too much to really note there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 15-minute. And we can see a slight increase, of course, here. And obviously, again, this is a stretch, but for lack of better terms, we are looking at a potential increase there and higher highs and higher lows. We can also see a shelf right here at about 36,000. So you can tell that 36,000 is a point of contention. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tests in roughly about a 48-hour period. Okay, so not in terrible shape in that sense. I would say the micro looks good for Bitcoin in that sentiment. If we can continue to progress higher, break 36,000, we might see 37, 37.5. But just bear in mind, 37.5 is a major resistance level. So if and when we get back up there, we're going to see likely a strong amount of resistance, and we should not expect it to go much further than that. If it were to, I would expect you to be cautious and careful and not by any stretch of the imagination expect that we're back on track and feeling good with this trend, okay? Because once again, this trend, if we look at the big picture here, I can go ahead and extend this out, we are looking at a position or a scenario here where the price would have to break this descending wedge pattern. We're not even close to doing that, right? And the reason why we're not close is because we're going to need at least, what is that? That's going to put us somewhere in the range of February, early February, as a best case scenario to effectively be able to break either the resistance at 37,500 or 40,500. Those are 2 key level resistances. And also to speak on support as well, just so you understand, we do have a support right at about 33,500 and a secondary support at 31,500 and of course 29,000 and beyond. And I say beyond because honestly, there's, as we've addressed already, there's literally no volume under 29,000. There's a slight shelf at 23,000, but we can bridge that gap later. So for now, ultimately, there is literally no good sign to want to take entry unless you are scalping or perhaps considering a very, very short-term day trade. And if you were to do that, I recommend exercising extreme caution and using a tight stop loss to ensure you are putting yourself in the best position possible. Because heaven forbid you get stopped out, but the price continues to progress lower, you're not going to be, getting your leverage position closed or liquidated, so to speak. You can effectively have a pretty good scenario where you can recover from it, right? Small loss, taking a lot of small losses is much better than one large loss. I can assure you of that. So all in all, again, not bad shape for Bitcoin on the micro. The micro does look decent, but just bear in mind, it's looked decent plenty of times in the past and very much has screwed us over for lack of better terms, okay? So again, just to reiterate one last thing for the micro, 36,000, if we break that resistance level, could establish itself as a new support. We'll probably trend towards 37.5 in the immediate near future regarding the next resistance level. But just keep in mind too, there's not a lot really holding us in place here. In fact, one last thing we want to probably maybe look at would be the VWAP and kind of see. We're currently under the volume weighted average price, which is never traditionally a great sign. But at this point, we're still well within our standard deviation lines and we're still ascending, so to speak. So all in all, I don't see there being a major turnaround, but I would expect in the next 24 hours, we could definitely see a shift because on Sunday, right around midday on Sunday, I've noticed we have dramatic shifts in momentum because the whales are back in business. on the Eastern hemisphere of the world, and that can effectively impact the price action. So we might expect to see more volume and more volatility in the immediate near future. But truth be told, the micro is looking much better than the macro. And just know we're going to need at least a couple weeks worth of good micro behavior in order to establish a strong baseline to continue to build on that foundation. All right. So I hope you found benefit here, of course. And if so, continue to watch these videos. I greatly appreciate all the support I've been receiving lately. And, thank you to my community. Of course, you're all the reason why I do this in the first place. So thanks so much again for your continued support. Looking forward to this transition and hopefully getting on to greener pastures, right? We've got to focus on the positive, control what we can. I'm not concerned in the least about this major retracement, and you shouldn't either, because it's always going to recover eventually, okay? And the important thing is to minimize your loss in the meantime, and of course, try to maximize your gain. There's not a tremendous amount of gains out there right now, but the important thing is to obviously make sure that you keep a good head on your shoulders, all right? I cover all, controlling your emotions and trading strategies, all that stuff in my Trading Academy that will be available month end, but I can assure you that these are things that you're going to benefit from if you learn to kind of steel yourself and not get too overwhelmed with these types of things. I know it seems crazy. The sky seems like it's falling. Yes, most portfolios are down 40 to 50%. I get that. But it's just a better buying opportunity if you understand how investing works. This is investing. Keep that in mind. It's not gambling. I think you'll probably hear me say that multiple times. Anyways, heaven forbid we are to continue to progress downwards. We'll bridge that gap. We'll figure it out together. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.